There we go. All right. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Couple more minutes to the stock market opens. Had a good close yesterday into recent highs again, cinching up on that 200-day moving average on the NASDAQ. See what the ES is doing. That's the S&P 500 futures. Also getting up to the 200-period moving average. Yeah, looking pretty good. And QES, what's the Russell? Forget what the Russell is. E-mini Russell 2000. Huh. What? Anyway. Where's the E-mini Russell? RTY. Is that a thing? I didn't think that was it. There's the ES. I guess that's it. Russell, not quite to its 200-day moving average yet. So still quite a bit of way to go in the Russell. All right, let's take a look at a few pre-market movers. AMRS, Chewy, CDXS, ALT, Estee Lauder. There's a name we know of. Doesn't look super great, although it is gapping up to 149. So all the way up here towards highs. So that's good for Estee Lauder. Ralph Lauren, 122.79. So a little bit of a gap. And market opens. Roku's still strong. Had it close yesterday. Yesterday was crazy for me. Came down pretty far, actually, from how high it was, but still elevated, which is good above the 200-day moving average. Not bad. NBEV's up here. Square's up here. Square holding pretty good yesterday. Not a lot of volume. Indicates lack of selling, which is good. We have just declining volume overall. If we can get over this little high here of $74 essentially, that'll be pretty healthy for Square. Twitter's up 1%. Bouncing around up here. Settle down, Twitter. Fine, I'll type it in. There's Twitter. Yeah, so poked its head out of this little consolidation. We do have earnings coming up. 2/7 before market. So tomorrow's the last day of trading before earnings. Tomorrow is. So it looks like they're picking at it a little bit, trying to get it higher here. We'll see. We'll see how that plays out. I've got a Twitter position, and it's a small one. Facebook had a good reaction. I'm probably going to gamble a little bit and hold through earnings right there. Eli Lilly's up here. Yesterday we noticed it. Well, you noticed the day before that it was selling off. Oh, it was yesterday. Came back pretty good. Look at that. Wow, had a pretty scary day, and look how it closed pretty nicely. So that selling volume really wasn't that apparent. It looked pretty big yesterday. Look at the NASDAQ this morning going for it, 0.75%. And we have another little inside day so far today on Eli Lilly. Okay, so I was a little mad at Eli Lilly yesterday, but not so much today. So that's good. You got to give these things a little bit of room to run. And the overall trend presents itself. Okay, what else is moving around here? Starbucks is up here. Let's see what's on the bottom. INS, Cron down a bunch today, 10%. So we talked about these super stops stocking at about 26 bucks, 25.10 for Cron on yesterday, which was a pretty decent little distribution day. The largest single day candle that we've had in Cron, along with a very elevated volume. I think it's had bigger in the past, but not by much and not many. So you can see we've had a few over here. So Cron could be definitely due for a big rest. Already back down at 21 after being at 25. That's a pretty big clip. MJ taken for 2.5 underneath that pivot point. Morning, Justin. So MJ also with a huge volume candle at the top. That could be a topping candle for the short term. I'm not sure. I don't think it's for long term. MJ's, marijuana is still a big, big thing. Control 4 down 15%. Wow. Look at that. It's a big drop for Control 4. Not much else down here that's on that we have been looking at. All of our highlighted stocks are up above except for MJ and Cron, which we just went over. And what else of interest down here? Shen maybe only down 0.25% though, not too bad. And then as we get higher, we start seeing our names. Lilly, THRM, Lilly already pulling back a little bit. More distribution. THRM. Hard to catch these things on the fly, man. PayPal coming back on earnings and then bouncing forward. Bouncing forward, not bad at all. Still lack of pullback on the NASDAQ. Really no pullback to speak of. A couple of days over here. You had like 2 weeks ago, to get in on a little consolidation. Then we're off to the races again. NASDAQ just continuing higher. BMW, Chugs, Starbucks. So I'll tell you a bit of a quiet day. Square's doing pretty good. Reach towards the top 3% here now. Looks like we're reaching towards above that $74 level. Actually, right there it is right there, 74. So that's good. That's coming back and filling the back and clearing and going back up after a downgrade by some analysts, or an analyst. Etsy, Tilray, Foot Locker, Boot, Booking.com. Has earnings coming up. Let's take a look at Apple up here. Look at that, 1.5% today. Apple getting with the program. Liking that action. That's good action in Apple. Still has quite a bit to go before we're back at highs. A full 30% plus, so that's good. That means maybe some of these larger caps will be coming back, which will buoy the NASDAQ even more. I think that's fantastic. Look at some of the other big ones. Look at Microsoft, up 0.75%. Not looking bad in that little pattern. So we got Microsoft, Facebook. What are you up? 1%. Looking really good after earnings, just gapping up, sitting there. So how you play these gaps is you can buy. There's 2 ways to play these gaps officially. Good morning, Eli. Looks like we had one the other day. You can play on it's basically has to do with the gap day. Okay, so that's your distribution line. This is your support line. And anytime it crosses either of those lines, it's buyable. That's how you play a gap. So it actually would have been buyable yesterday as it came back through. As it came back through up 165 here. And then the other rule would be over this high, which is 171.68. That is another potential buy point for a gap. That's typically a gap playing rule right there if you're looking for a rule. Reason being is because there was support here, and if it's broken and then comes back, it's likely to be supported and continued buying. And if it goes past distribution, it means that resistance has been broken and it'll likely continue higher. So either way, we're looking for either accumulation or support. And that's what those two lines imply with Facebook. So those are your two buy points. Looks like that one yesterday would have worked out pretty good for, well, anyone. It's been working out pretty good. But yeah, NASDAQ just continues going higher. No, they're not selling this market off. All right, Etsy now top on our screen, 5%. Looks like it's trying to make all-time highs here. My charts look squished down below. That's better. Okay. So Etsy with a cup and handle here. There's your cup, there's your handle, there's your breakout. So Etsy's actually breaking out right now. And in volume so far is pretty good. 500,000 out of 2 million shares. That so far is very good breakout volume for Etsy. So there's your cup. You've got your first red week, then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 weeks. That's your buy point. And we're still buyable here in Etsy. Only up 2.35%. So that is still a buyable pattern in Etsy if you wanted to get involved in that. Earnings in 20 days. So you got a few weeks to hopefully get some profit in Etsy. In terms of what stage base it is coming out of a bear market, I still need clarification on this from IBD. That should be resetting the base count. So this should be a first stage base. And we undercut this base here, so that right there alone would reset the base count. So either way, this would be a first stage base in Etsy. And breaking out as we're speaking. Let me double check on that volume. Yeah, 550,000 shares. I have 2.1 traded. So to have a traditional breakout, you need 40% of 40% over average volume. So average volume here is 2.1, so 2.2 million. So just because I'm lazy, 2.2 million times 1.4 would be 3.8, and you're already at 500,000, 600,000. You're already at 600,000 9 minutes into the session. So that's really good for Etsy. That's super good. So this is an actionable breakout. We don't see too many of these during the during the stream here. So what's your target? 57 times 20%. 68.4. Let's call it 68 for easy math. Yeah, just buy the stock. Options won't do nothing for you. Oh well. Beat ran of. I'm assuming beats the stock. Hold on a second, blow my nose. Let's take a look at beat. Oh yeah, there you go. Beat. Yeah, there's another cup with handle right there. Looks like it broke out a few days ago. And volume was good. Volume was good on the breakout. There's your cup with handle breakouts already up. Already up 12%. So definitely too extended to get involved there. Etsy is buyable. The stock only though. Looks like the options are way too expensive. Paycom doing pretty good. Racing back to highs. We'll see if that'll pause and put a handle in for a cup and handle. INSG back up. Looks like it definitely been resting lower volume. Yesterday was an day. We'll see if maybe it'll lift off here one of these days. I think that would be the best case scenario. Obviously, yep, Tesla up 1.5. Of course, you move right when I click on you. And Tesla's had these series of rising patterns here, and it's in another one. We'll see how this one plays out. So a series of rising patterns, each leading to a breakdown. The volume was declining in that instance. In this instance, the volume looks like declining a little bit here, and then we got elevated. There was all that Elon news and stuff happening, and then slightly elevated volume on the sell-off. Volume up here doesn't seem to be selling off. Doesn't seem to be drifting away. You've got some peak closes here. And then, yeah, through earnings on Tesla right there, we talked about them trying to drive Tesla lower. It looks like they accomplished that. And they're still buying it right there. You can see all those closes are towards the highs, even that red day right there. That close there was in about the top 25% of the range. You know, towards the highs. So Tesla's looking good. Not too mad. Tesla, Nasdaq up a full percent now. Pretty good. Etsy up 5%. We got Square up 4%. So we're having some decent moves. We're having some decent percentage gains. Hopefully this will persist and not drift off throughout the day, as can happen. Goose 2.5%. Still looking at Goose. Micron holding up pretty well. We talked about this consolidation that has been putting in the past week. Looks like we broke out of that a couple days ago and not really looking back so far. Again, peak closes right there, and so far we're peaked today. Of course, we just started the day, so we'll see how that happens. But those are good closes after this little consolidation. I think that's still buyable if you guys are interested in Micron. You know about the fundamental stories. A little iffy with Micron. That's one negative to that stock. Yeah, so what else? Things just look like they're working, guys. This is getting on with the program. Doing what it's supposed to do. You got a breakout here on Etsy. If you want to trade a breakout, there's a breakout. You got anything you want today. Open menu. I'm buying. Well, okay, I'm not buying. You can buy. But Etsy doing good. Almost did 700,000 shares. So volume's on a good clip. It's still going up. We're not seeing a lot of distribution here. I think we're going to see a good volume day today on Etsy unless things really die down really quick. XON now up here, but way down there on the stock chart. Very beaten down. So Square up 4.4% now, going for it. How's volume on Square? 17 million, 2.7 traded. Not quite as good as Etsy. Of course, it's not a breakout day, but that's pretty good volume. Yesterday you only had 10.5, so you're already at a quarter of yesterday's volume, and we're only 15 minutes into the session. So at least an elevated volume day a green elevated volume day. I'll take that every day. Take that every day. Biomed, Mygen, CRISPR. What's CRISPR? I haven't looked at that one in a minute. Let's just go down the list. Let's start at the top, go down the list. Okay, so we know about Etsy, XON, that one's living at lows. Then we have Square. We know that one's doing pretty good. Trying to break out of a consolidation or at least pull out of one. Roku. We've been talking about Roku since this little consolidation has been working pretty good. Some distribution yesterday, but bucking the trend today. We'll see if it sees continued distribution. Phonar, I don't know why I have this on here anymore. I'm just going to get rid of this. Here, actually holding up pretty good. Not too bad. Nothing super buyable as of yet. We definitely have some distribution up here about the $18 level. We'll see if that can get above that. ABMD, very nice uptrend. Big, beautiful consolidation. This will take a while to play off, but looks like... Oh, look at the other day on earnings. Whoops. There we go. Other day on earnings there. Quite a bit of action. Oh, that was earnings? Oh, wow. And then a big distribution from 350 down to 320 with lots of support. We'll see what happens there. That's in a void for right now. Definitely in a void for right now. Why does it always go to 369 days? All right, Booking.com. We haven't seen this one a whole lot. This is, Booking.com. This used to be Priceline, so they have like 8 trillion hotel booking lodging sites, Trivago and all of those, I believe. And it looks like it's larger consolidation. We have one here. We have another base here. Historically, this thing has gone almost straight up. So on the weekly chart here, you have a few trend lines. And it looks like it's coming up to one right now on the daily. Volume drifting off a little bit. Tesla bought a company. Actually, yeah, you sent me that article, Eli. Yeah, that whole company that they bought. CRISPR, Roku jumped back up in between us. Here we talked about Roku down here. And we talked about it breaking this trend line. It gapped up above the trend line. And again, we already talked about this one. Okay, through that consolidation. All right, there we go. Won't beat that one. Won't beat that dead horse with a stick. VIPs down here. I haven't talked a lot about VIPs in terms of fundamentals. Looks like it did break basically a 10-month-long, 9-month-long downtrend there. Sideways, then breakout action. We talked a little bit about that. EDU, education in China, a prior leader from back in the day. That time axis is crazy too. So had some pretty good runs over here. Another good run over here, pulling back and doing okay here at 80. Looks like it's holding a little bull flag. Not a ton of volume today. Only 122,000 at a 1 point. Was it 1.3, 1.4? Oh, you got that BTT trade, Eli? Good. Yeah, that was a beautiful setup. We haven't seen anything like that in a while. It's pretty nice. Meyer, Baba. Baba coming up. Looks like trying to break through resistance right there. We talked about the declining volume here and now breaking out. So that's going to definitely have a good volume day. Yesterday's volume was 7 million. We're already at 2 million today. Bye, babe. Give me a hug, Bugs. Come here. Miss you yesterday. Huh? No, not yet. Bye, babe. THO, MU. MU looks interesting. We talked about that one a bit. PRGO. GHDX. I don't remember this one. But man, that's a lot of green. Looks like around the 80 level is a $80 level is kind of a level pivot point, if you will. Choppy price action, hard to buy that. But look at this weekly chart on this thing, very flat. I mean, this is gorgeous right here. Unfortunately, it bases for what, like 6 years? I mean, that's crazy. Like, I know it's going to break out now. Well, I guess you kind of could. It's a little bit of a change in behavior here, but weird. Yeah, GHDX doing pretty good there. Quad U coming back a little bit. Not that interesting yet. We got better things. Etsy up here at 6.7%. Looks gangbusters. Still buyable, although it's getting away. Amazon looking pretty good. Living in a consolidation up here. Chopping between the 200 and the 50-day moving average, which is fine with me. Till it can break out. We know Apple's coming back 1.6%. That's nice. TTD breaking out from that trend line the other day. Continuing, not really giving much pause. Daddy. Yes, James. BITA lower. SNCR. SNCR may be getting going. It's not.
Can you brush my teeth?
Yeah, when you're done eating, I'll brush your teeth. You're welcome. SNCR. I don't mind this action, but I can't say you're going to start rip-roaring higher from here. You have very low volumes here on the weekly chart. It's been coming down from 45 to 7. Not say I'm happy with that. STZ, is this Constellation Brands? Oh, I don't know who this is. I always think it's the Stars Network, but it never is. Ends up being Constellation Brands or something. James, close my door, please. STZ looking okay right here. Not my favorite chart pattern. There's really nothing you can gather from that. All right, Melly. So Melly trying to break out from this much larger triangle. We'll see if it happens. We had a shakeout down here. Let's see if this is another shakeout at the top, or a bull trap as it's known. NASDAQ holding that 1% mark, man, not giving it up. Good day today. Justin up 10% on Apple and 15 on Facebook. Okay, cool. Did you buy Facebook before earnings? That's risky. That's super risky. You never know what earnings is going to do. Forgot your glass. That's always a gamble, Justin. Glad it worked out, but it's always a gamble. We're having good markets though, so all right. So where are we at now? So we got BLFS, we got Tilray here, SYNA. There's BLFS. So the weekly chart came down pretty far, 65%. That's a very, very deep base, but it's coming back quite nicely, having a couple of really good days there. Looks like it broke out of a distribution level here, and then just off to the races. Good volume, pretty good volume here, great volume here. Consolidation, I have another buy point here at about $17 potentially for BLFS if you're interested in that. We had Boeing the other day rocketing higher here. Boeing is fantastic. This thing's just moving. It's a force upon itself, I think, at this stage. So your breakout point in Boeing is here at 393. So your level would be 471 for potential profit taking. And Boeing's still buyable in some options too. It's just so expensive. It's been consolidating all year, so that takes some of the volatility out of it, and that leaves you with the ability to do some stuff. You can buy some Junes for pretty good gains if it gets to 471, which it may. It's got great volume on the breakout. Look at the weekly. It's a very standout. Thank you very much, James. It's a very standout week for Boeing. Look at all that volume. Today's only Tuesday. Yeah, so that was just last week.
Taco Tuesday?
Taco Tuesday, yes, sir.
Today is Taco Tuesday.
Oh, okay. That's cool, Justin. Yeah. Hey, guys, hold on a couple minutes. I'll be right back. Couple minutes. All right, I'm back. That's your attempt at value investing, Justin? So let's keep it real, Justin. You can't value buy Facebook. It's impossible. It's not a thing. You can say I bought it cheap. I'll accept that as a plausible answer. Etsy, how are you doing here? Up 8%. 4.5%. Almost at a buy range. Volume. Tremendous. 1.5 million at a 2.2 average. Is going to have a breakout day today. Etsy is going to have a great day. If you need something to buy, it's still buyable. And according to the metrics that we have available to us, it's looking really good. So go Etsy, go Etsy, go. And the market here chilling under 1%, sold off a little bit, just consolidating. We'll see what happens. I'm going to get going in a little bit, guys. Got to take the kid to daycare again. Man, freaking yesterday was crazy. Eli Lilly, INSG, both pairing up here on my list. Both holding up okay, about 0.75%. Not really selling off yet. We'll see if that changes with either of those. We got Chegg, which was a fairly recent addition. We talked about that at that breakout point. Remember that? Look at that. So don't be mad when Etsy's up, a bunch already. So there's your breakout point on Chegg, up 17%. That's not bad. BTT selling off. Oh, there you go. A little bit. How's the volume? Oh, yeah, it's looking like a normal crypto, isn't it? That would have been a great sell point right there. See if there's any other trend lines up here we can draw. Broke through that one. That looks like that appears to be our longest one. So yeah, here's our buy point right there. So we got as high as 68, already down to 30, 31. Maybe it'll bounce back a little bit. Volume's not, it's aggressive. It's not that aggressive though. You can see right there the VA tool. Right where that buying started to drift off. It started floating higher, didn't have anything to push it higher, and it starts to sell off. So yeah, good trade there in BTT. That consolidation worked out really well. There's a cup with handle for you too, and then off to the races. So good stuff there. Let's see if it looks like it's pulled back to this prior high. Maybe it'll end up consolidating around this. It could do that. It could pull out of it. We'll have to see. If we forgot about everything, Eli, we wouldn't look at anything. Always keep an eye on stuff. What happens? You're like, that thing is done, and then it moves 30%. You're like, why wasn't I look at that? I thought it was done. So, anywho, Etsy 9% now. 9% now. Beautiful moves in Etsy. Square holding at 4, which is pretty good. I like the fact. Pretty good volume too today compared to yesterday. 10.5 million yesterday, 4.5 million today, half hour into the session. So all it has to do is basically, with a very large rounding area, double the volume, and you're good to go here. Of course, it's a little more, but you catch my point there. Square could be doing pretty good. So yeah, so far a pretty good day in the market. Moving up, Nasdaq pulling back a little bit here, 0.92%. But overall, most stocks looks like they're holding their moves. Starbucks coming back a little bit, and we'll see there. Square long-term hold. So I don't think much is a good long-term hold, to be honest with you, Justin. I'm not a long-term hold kind of guy. I'm a swing trade kind of guy, and I would consider Square possibly good for a swing trade. I think it's a little elevated here just in terms of this base. I think that the breakout from this trend line was really the signal really down here. I think this consolidation would have been a nice secondary entry point. This is a little more risky. Just the higher we get, the more likely you are to have a pullback. But I think I think overall Square's okay. You had that analyst came out saying bad stuff about Square's earnings and growth prospects, but who who knows if the market's even going to care. The market may be willing to live with slower growth if its peers are growing at the same clip. Square is the same company. You know, Square versus PayPal versus all these other payment companies. I don't know how many there are now. You know, but I think it is a market leader in its sector, and that's a good thing. And I don't mind the chart pattern at all. I have this is like my second biggest position is Square right now, other than my TQQQ position. So I got to go, guys. Got to take the kid out to daycare, and I'll get on with my day. No. So all right, guys. I'll see you tomorrow. Have a good day. Stay safe out there. And if you do on Etsy, it's almost gone from you if you want to buy a breakout, but it's looking really good, breaking into all-time highs here as well today. So have a good day, guys. I'll see you tomorrow. Bye-bye.